In this video, we're going to go over how to use Instant Data Scraper, where you can scrape a supplier website, create an Excel file from that, upload it into a software like Third-Party Profit so you can start sourcing, how to analyze keep it graphs to make sure that the products that you're sourcing are not going to tank, or how to look at specific indicators on a graph that would show that potentially there will be a price drop in the future, as well as sourcing live and going over how to add products into purchase orders. So if you're new here, just consider to like, share, and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. First thing is we're going to go over is the Instant Data Scraper, because Aaron asked me about this privately. So I want to make sure that we can cover that. For anyone that's new here that doesn't know what Instant Data Scraper is, Instant Data Scraper is just a free Chrome extension that you can use that will scrape a website that will create an Excel file. Now, it's not like the most user-friendly tool, to be honest. It's a little bit complex, but that being said, it is a really great tool. There probably is some YouTube videos on it as well to kind of learn a little bit more how to leverage it, but let's jump into it. This right here is the distributors. We can see here, imagine they don't have an Excel file. It's going to have the UPC out front. You would obviously be logged into your account where it would have that price point as well. And it's going to have all the information. So now what I can do is I can click on this Instant Data Scraper. You guys see this?
Yes.
Cool. So this is what Instant Data Scraper is. So this picked up essentially everything on that website. You know, it has the UPC, has the thing, and then up top, like I was saying, it has this start crawling button to scrape through everything on that page. So it went down and grabbed all of that data, and then I can download that Excel file. And now to show you guys what that Excel file actually looks like, the Excel file, you guys can see the file, right?
Yes.
So this is the file that we just grabbed. We're not logged into the pricing, so we can't get that price. But if you did have, you're logged in, you were scraping through, that would also pull in your price. And now you have all of the data to then go and take this and then upload it into a software like Third-Party Profits to then allow you to now start sourcing through without physically having to manual source. What you do is you see this page, you click on the Instant Data Scraper free Chrome extension. It pulls up that table that you saw, and then you're just going to see everything on the screen essentially highlighted. And then that's how you know, and then you can just click on start crawling and it'll start creating an Excel file from the website. If there's a next button on the website, like this website here is an infinite scroll, then you pretty much tell the Chrome extension what button they would click to then click on the next page. And then it'll scrape that data and they'll automatically click on the next page, and they'll scrape that data and pick up the next page. So it can scrape all of that data automatically for you for all the pages.
One of the suppliers that I was scraping, right? The only thing that it was missing, or that it had more than I liked, was that it had the UPCs and the case pack in the same column. And what I tried to do was try to put that in like an Excel and try to separate it myself, but that was like way too much work for what it was worth. So that was kind of like where my mix up. No, I don't know how to do that. So I didn't know if there was just an easier way to go about that, or if it was just more or less like, just move on.
So personally, what I would do is I would use ChatGPT and ask them and say, this column here has our price and the case pack together as one cell, when in reality, we want to separate the price to the case quantity. Can you give me the formula that will do this for me? And then you just continue to interact with ChatGPT until it works out like the right formula, essentially. Personally, for me, that's what I constantly do. Like whenever there's an issue with the file, I'll go directly to ChatGPT and then just kind of get that quick response. I would say like 95% of the time, it does work pretty well. Now let's jump into some more of sourcing related stuff. And then we'll kind of get into what Delk was saying, which is going to be like how to avoid price tanks, or when is it a good opportunity to essentially, I would say, like pass on products, like indications, right? To remove items. All right, so let's just set some generic profit filters. We'll go with KHE because we always do KHE, and there would be a pretty solid example to use. So in stock rate, less than 60%. Let's focus on offer counts for this specific scenario. That's going to be greater than like 6. And then profit margin, that's greater than 10. All right. So like this right here, we can see that the offer count is going up, and we're at the point now where obviously that price has dropped. Now, this is kind of where it can get a little bit tricky. But this is why the first thing I do is I always look at the larger picture of data. I never look at just the 3 months of data. Even a year is a good amount of data to look at to see profitability. But in terms of understanding what the ebbs and flows are of a listing is going to be the long term. Why? Because if we literally look at this data back here, we could see that this was selling at $50, $49, $45. And if we look at this period, this was selling at 55, right? 52. That same thing happened. It repeated itself. Why? Because you're not the only person that's seeing this product at this certain margin in profit. So really what you want to do on a listing like this is when it comes to products that are going to like quote, quote, tank, what we need to look at is just seeing this historical data back here where it did tank and just understanding what the math is based on our cost of goods and determining whether or not we do or don't want to take that risk. So we know that back here at $51, most likely if we look at our pricing, our cost of goods are $513 on this item. This is selling as a 6-pack to the actual unit cost of the tool. So it's $453, right? So $453 on my promotional pricing times 6. This is real pricing, by the way, the same file that we used last time. So this is like real data of my own business here. At $51, we're very profitable. So for me personally, like looking at this listing, if I was buying this product for my own business and to prevent a offer count issue of that price going down, I'm going to look back at, okay, when the offer count did go up in a hypothetical scenario where competition did increase on the listing, if it was selling at $39.99 or even at this lower price, we'll jump into in a second here, at $39.99, we're looking at a break even before any expenses. It goes lower down to 37. Now we're losing money, right? So I'm not saying that that's what you should look at and say, okay, well, now I don't want to buy the product. But the point is that you got to take that into consideration. If we just looked at historical data, there'd be a pretty good chance that we would notice that this price is going to go back down from this ASIN.
Could you like summarize it? Like shorter points, right?
Imagine if we're going back in time. We're looking at this product in May and June at $55.76. Oops, if this wants to just work with me, $55.76. We're seeing like a super healthy profit margin, 26%, $4.38 in profit per sale. But here's the thing. You're not the only person that's seeing that profit, right? We'd be ignorant to say that we're the only sellers looking at this listing right now. So whenever you see a product and its profitability, when it's super profitable, you need to take that additional step and dig deeper. Now, the way to dig deeper is by looking at the previous historical data. Why? Because in May, the offer count was low, abnormally low, 10 offers on a listing. So for us looking at this item, we know it's super profitable, but if we zoom out from a longer period of data, we're going to see that back here where this offer count was also really low at 8, it was selling at that price point as well. But then looking at that previous data, once the offer count went up, where did the price drop to? And then that's now where we need to plug in that price and say, okay, worst case scenario, offer count does 2 to 3x. What could we anticipate to sell this product for? Are we going to lose money? Or are we going to make money? And then as business owners, and every single person's decision in this room is going to be different, and that is okay. But as a business owner, that's the risk that we take. Is saying, okay, well, it's a 26% margin. I know that people are constantly buying products from KeHE. It's a widely distributed wholesale account. What are the chances that this profit margin is going to go down based on this other data that is here, that we can see on Amazon? Even though it's a longer period away, could have been a year ago. Amazon data repeats itself like constantly. Always will repeat itself. For me personally, what I want to look at is the worst case scenario on every single listing. Like, I don't want to just look at the best case scenario for my business. I don't want to buy what is the worst case scenario for every single dollar I invest in my business. Is it going to produce me an ROI? Am I going to break even? Worst case? Am I going to lose money? You know, that way I have an understanding of what the risk is that I'm taking. Because if I'm just like blindly going into it just to buy a product without understanding the bigger picture, for me personally as a business owner, I don't think that's the best decision to make. I think that there's smarter ways to hedge your risk to make sure that you're safeguarding your investments, and no matter in any inventory that you're buying on Amazon. And another thing too that I didn't even consider in this keep it graph, which I love for other people to maybe chime in and notice or say, because we're constantly kind of going over these keep it graphs. Is there any issue that you guys are seeing with this listing that I'm seeing that could be an indicator of why this price is going to continue to go down?
Maybe the BSR rank, major drop. You see that? Merge listing, one thing. I think it's a merge listing.
Yes, exactly. It's a merge listing.
That's a major drop, right? The gap, like boof.
Exactly. So it's a merge listing, right? Everyone that isn't spending their time on these training lessons going over Keepa to understand the most important part of the business, which is buying inventory. This right here is crucial, is that this is a merged listing, right? This rank that we're seeing that's 13,000 in health and household, or this 1,000 sales that we're seeing a month, is not what's actually happening on this specific variation of this product. Sellers that came on this listing didn't take those additional steps to make sure that the product they're buying is actually going to sell as fast as they anticipate. And I can almost guarantee that this is the scenario if we go into the offers tab here and see how much stock is on this listing. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of stock on the product. So right now there is 137 plus on a product that sells less than 50 a month, is at least 90 days worth of inventory, plus any new sellers that are coming on the listing. So like that's a lot of inventory relative to how fast the product is selling. So this price is just going to continue to go down.
So how would you like calculate how much we should buy and all that, right?
I wouldn't buy it. You know, I would maybe save it in your folder inside of the software and then revisit it eventually. But like, this is not a product I would buy, like, especially right now. This price is just going to continue to go down. But if we look at the data back here, we could see that eventually this offer count did decrease. And when the offer count did go down, that price shot back up to 52. And I promise you, the people that were selling it at $33, we're not making money on this product. So what are the chances that they're going to come back on this listing and repurchase it and sell it again? Little to none, right? They lost money on the item. They're like, screw that item. I don't want to sell it in my store anymore. They forget about it. Whereas right now there's an opportunity where, okay, we see this product. It was really, really profitable for about a year. People are making a 20 to 30% profit margin, depending on what that cost of goods was that they bought the product for. All of us could be selling that product at that profit margin. But strategically, you need to know when to buy it and when to sell it. And right now is not the right time to buy and sell. It's the right time to keep that into your back pocket. Use third-party profits to help you organize the products that you've sourced that you maybe don't want to buy today, but it's in your safe products. And then when that price does go back up, then you can hop on that listing where there's going to be substantially less offers. You can be selling that product at a 20% profit margin and make the profits you want to see in your business. The perfect key point here is I love, at least for me as a seller, when I'm looking at listings and that price is going down, but I'm not the one selling it. Because what that is telling me is that there's going to be opportunity on this listing. Like I said, people are going to sell through the inventory. They're going to be losing money in the product. They're going to be like, screw that item. I never want to sell it again because they lost money on the item. Whereas for me, I'm looking at this opportunity as a strategic option to be able to capitalize on a product where people are selling at this bottom low price to sell through their inventory that they've been holding on to for a year. And once this drops down, I see this continue to go down because I know that people aren't going to be buying products. Right? Like the key indication of what I'm trying to say is that you can tell based on what the product is selling for on Amazon that no one else is going to come on this listing. There's a certain price point, certain threshold that what the product's selling for that you know that no one is making money, or that price is super, super low where it's just a super low margin where like no one's going to want to go and buy that product as a new seller or a new offer on the listing. So what's going to happen? All those new offers are not going to come in. That offer count is just going to go down like how we're seeing it here. And it's just going to continue to deplete. And then that's the time to watch the product. That's the time to get in on the product because now that the offer count's going down, no one's going to want to sell months and months because people just lost a bunch of money. They're seeing it based on their profitability. But then the other sellers are saying, wait a second, this is what's going to keep sellers away, which is what happened for this period of time from October to April. And then sellers see the product again and they say, wait a second, this product's been profitable for a year. This is a great item, without looking at the previous data to realize that that cycle is going to happen again. So really the way to look at Amazon is recognizing like what side do you want to be on, right? Do we want to be the seller that's dealing with the price tanking, that's dealing with the prices that are going down, which sometimes is inevitable? Or do we want to be the seller that sees those as opportunities where other people are fighting it out and recognize how we can capitalize on the other side of the equation? Everything's a yin yang. If you guys have been enjoying the video so far and you're not yet a third-party profits user, click the link down below to start a free trial today. Aaron, how you're going to tell that this product's a merged listing, which actually, okay, here it is. So do you see how this, like, there's a major drop here where it just goes from 254,000 down to 21,000? So that's how you can tell on a Keep It graph that this product is a merged listing. Meaning that this ASIN, the product that we're looking at right now, was its separate listing on Amazon. And then Amazon merged it to what they call it a parent ASIN, which is like the main selling ASIN. And essentially, once it groups it together, then Keepa starts tracking the parent ASIN sales rank, not the individual product. So it was once an individual ASIN product by itself. It got grouped together with another variation that's selling. And now it starts picking up that data rather than that specific ASIN because it's no longer by itself. And that's where it's merged. So whenever you see keep a graph where it's like you see this data here and then it just drops instantly, like overnight, almost like an IP complaint, that's how you know it's a merged listing. And this is really what that sales ranks looks like on the product. It's not like this. It's like this. So this is happening again for this product where this offer count's going back up, and we can see here that most likely they think that the product's selling a lot faster than it is. And we can see it's only selling 50 times a month compared to here where it really wasn't selling that well. So let's jump into a different product though and see if we can pick one up. So that offer count's low. All right. So like this is a good product to see because we can see that the offer count went back up fairly high. So really the way to tell when the offer count is going to be when the profit or the price is selling consistently at a higher price than what it's been selling for. That is like the main indication of how you can tell that a price is going to tank. So what I mean by that is like, if we look at this current data here, we can see that this price, because people saw this price here, that's where they bought it at, right? If we look at this section from this data point here to here, this is where people were sourcing it and how that offer count went up. But what they failed to realize was all of this previous data of where the product was previously selling at, or pretty much what the market was selling at. And that's when offer counts spike, is when there is a, what is the terminology used for it? I don't know. But essentially, an outlier. Okay, so that's what it's on the tip of my tongue. And it's right there the entire time. An outlier, right? So like this right here is outlier pricing on Amazon, what it's selling for. We look over the course of literally 2 years, it pretty much never sold for $40. It used to always sell for $30, which is $10 more per sale on Amazon. That's a lot. And then we look at that data, and that's exactly why the offer count went up, because everyone's seeing that product regardless of the pricing. See, this is also something that is so important for everyone to understand when it comes to wholesale. I know that sometimes wholesale can be super, super frustrating because you can be sourcing products and you're like, how are people buying these products? How are people making money? How are they doing that? But what you guys got to realize is that that is a beauty and a curse. Why? Because when you're buying products at the right price, it prevents these offer counts spiking where no one makes money. Because all of a sudden, if a product is selling for $10 higher, regardless of anyone's cost of goods, everyone's profitable, meaning that that's exactly why the product is saturated. The whole point of wholesale and why wholesale is a great business is because there's barrier. Some people hate the barrier because they want things that are easy in life. And I'm here to share with you guys that nothing's easy in life at all. And you guys all know that. And that's exactly why you guys are in this room, taking time away from your family to learn, to grow your businesses. Like, we all know that starting and growing a business is not supposed to be easy. So that's why it's hard, is because if it was easy, nothing would be profitable. And we can see that in the offer counts, because that price goes up, everyone's profitable, no one makes money. Whereas when there's barrier to entry, people are consistently selling at a few dollar profit range in terms of like, maybe it sells for 20, 27, 28, but everyone that can make money are making money on the product, right? And that's the key, is that everyone finds a little pocket in their business where it might work for you, it might not work for me, or vice versa in other people. But that's the benefit, is that wholesale prevents things from getting saturated because not everyone can make money on listings. Whenever you see a product where it's super high profit margin, super high profit, and you know that it's a supplier or any wholesale supplier, most likely that price is going to go down. It's inevitable that the price is going to go down because everyone's profitable. Does that kind of make sense? Cool. All right, let's pick up a few more listings here. Let's see if we can see any other indications. Okay, so this al dente product. So like this product here, I love products like this. Like, to me, this is a great keep a graph. And the reason why is because, like I was saying here, like, there's people on this listing that are making money. And there's a reason why people are this price decreasing, even with offer count staying, I don't want to say high, but there's competition on the listing, right? But like, so that's a good thing to see, is that everyone is playing fair. Everyone is here to make money on the listing. And our cost here is $16.42 if we want to load. Yep, $3.67. That's why. All right, let's see. Let's open up another listing here. One pack, $235. This right here is an example of, we look at this data and like right now it's profitable. Like this is why I would always recommend, especially in wholesale, to prevent or just don't look at 3-month keep graphs. It's just not enough data. It's not enough data to look at. We look at this keep graph here and we see a product that, even though it's selling at a lower price, like hypothetically saying, regardless of what that price point is on Amazon right now, that 3 months of data looks pretty good. Doesn't look that bad. It looks like it's selling okay. Price is fairly consistent, etc. We go out to a year and boom, instantly we can see that this price has been selling at $549. It's not selling at $849 or whatever that price point is. It's at $549. No one's making money, right? There's no margin in profit in this product. So that's why we always got to step out and take a bird's eye view at every single product, because the longer period of data that you can look at on Amazon, the better investment that you will make into products. It is like a direct correlation. You know, the shorter period of data, it's not enough data to look at to make an educated decision. Why? Because for us selling on Amazon, we have us to place a purchase order, the time it takes us to get the inventory from our supplier, to prep it, to ship it, to pack it, right? All of these things, to Amazon receive it. Then there's other people that are probably going to buy and sell them. All of these take you 7, 14, 21 days to get your product selling in Amazon. So if we're looking at such a short window of period of time, we're inevitably going to make bad decisions in our business, because we're not looking at the longer period to say, all right, well, there are some variables to selling on Amazon. It is volatile, whether that's demand of the product, whether that's the price point, whether that's competition. We're just ignoring all those things and going in blind, which for me, I don't think that's a viable way to grow and scale a business. You know, for me, when it comes to selling on Amazon and continuing to grow my own personal Amazon wholesale business, the way I look at wholesale is it's a great vehicle to build an awesome business, but you got to look at the longer period of data to make those decisions. And sometimes it can hurt as well, because we might be opening up products and then seeing items where they're just like recently profitable, and you might be like, I don't want to say struggling, but it might not make sense on how you can start making money on Amazon, because when you look at a longer period, just everything seems to be like a break even or low margin at a bigger picture. But like, that's okay. You know, that's okay. We just need to break through the barrier. Another good example of like a product like this, where at $19.99, our cost here is $9.90. So, I mean, the profit margin, the profit per sale isn't too out of this world. All of these people on this listing, you know, it is like a newer listing on Amazon. This type of product is like, there's nothing that you can really do. Like, some products are just gonna be this way. I personally would have stayed away from it in the first place though, because the brand is on the listing. So I would have never bought this product in the first place. Just my personal opinion, but everyone operates a little bit differently.
I was wondering, you know, going back to the original demonstration on the keeper charts, can you also like kind of show us where you would enter an order, where you think a perfect scenario would be? If there are some outliers within the 1 year data, where do you see the opportunity?
Sure. Let's try to pick up a product here. I heard something, but I'm trying to find a product. Let's see. Okay. So a good time for me to enter a product, like an item like this, would be like, we can see here, the reason why the price went down was because the buy box went away. Not only was the offer count going up, the buy box went down, or I'm sorry, they lost the buy box. Now, for me, entering this product, I would personally enter the product. If I was to repurchase this, I would enter it right around this March area. I wouldn't want to hop back on right away. This is too close for me compared to what this data point is. I would hop in right around March, because there's been some other people that have tested the product a little bit. We can see that for historical data, there has been some scenarios where the buy box went away. But for the majority of the product, there has been a buy box, which is a good sign to see. And there was just like, it seems like an outlier where that buy box went away. And I'll try to enter around this March area and sell it for a few months. And then probably some people will hop on the listing. Price will get a little bit competitive. You probably will still be profitable, but just not as high as the profit margin is what you'd like. Let's see if we can find a better product though. I mean, this earth science here. All right. So for me personally, I'm going to enter this product once I see that it's profitable, because the ebbs and flows of the offer count show me that it's either you're buying it for the right price or you're not. It's like, it's a binary type of scenario on this keep it graph. It's either you're getting it for the right price and you're profitable and people aren't cutting each other's heads off, or you're not making money. There's probably some people that look up this season right now, try to source it. Maybe you're losing money on the product. Whereas maybe for myself, I could be the one seller on this listing that is actually making money on the product. So like this is a keep it graph where I would enter this product if I was profitable based on the offer count. Maybe this Desert Essence. Let's see if this will change. This is going to be Hazmat. This is another product for me. If I'm profitable at $18, I'm going to enter the product. Offer count has been pretty stable. I haven't seen any sort of indications that that price is going to go down. Now, an item like this, another one, offer count, super consistent. There's no indications of this offer count going up. We can see that the pricing has been very consistent at this $18 range. It's either you're making money at $18 where people are priced at, or you're not. It's either you're profitable or you're not. Yes. All right. Another product here where for me, I'm not really too concerned about the offer count. Once again, pricing is extremely consistent. Offer count is very consistent. Even though the offer count is high, I have not seen any spikes in offer count for me where I'm concerned. Why? Because I can see that even at the highest, really the key indicator is looking at the highest offer count and seeing whether or not that price tanked, right? Like that's the bottom. That is the bottom scenario. Is offer count goes up, highest offer count, what is that price point? Am I profitable there? Yes or no? If I am, good product. If not, take that into consideration. So highest offer count here looks like it's 32. Yeah, 32 offers. We're priced at $13.99, right at $13.99. And my cost of goods on this product is $6.88. Okay. Worst case scenario, at the highest offer count, I'm breaking even. Best case scenario, it seems like this price is actually pretty consistent. So it's not a good example to use because we're actually not profitable. But my point is that if we were profitable, imagine our cost of goods were on this item instead of $6.88 is $6.20, right? Bottom scenario at $13.99, it was $1.11, and the price did go up to $15.99. Now I know worst case scenario, it's an 8% margin at the highest offer count. Best case scenario, or where I'm going to be consistently selling the product, is going to be $280, 18% profit margin. That'd be an item I would want to sell in my business. Why? Because worst case scenario, I'm not losing. Best case scenario, I'm making money. Any last questions or anything?
Hey, Paul, I had a question.
Sure.
I think you might have just kind of said it, but like when you step back on your keep graph and you're looking at a 12-month span, you're looking for profitability at basically like the lowest point from a price standpoint. And like if it's still profitable at that amount, then you're good. Like everything else is just a cherry on top, right?
Exactly. You know, if you find a product where you're not losing money, worst case scenario, you found a good product to sell on Amazon. Because that is the key, right? Warren Buffett says it, never lose money. That's just like, that's the key. You know, on Amazon, everything averages out. There's me months where you sell a product, it's going to suck. Like, damn, this item stinks. And then there's me other months where it's a 25% profit margin. Like, damn, that product's pretty good. And it's like, but it just averages out to that 15% margin, which I personally think is kind of like realistic in wholesale. 15, 18% gross margin is what the target should be. It takes some time to get to that point, but it is feasible. That is kind of what you can expect in wholesale as you continue to get better and get better pricing. So everything will average out to that point. So like you said, Kevin, as long as you're not losing money, and if you are losing money, how much are you losing? And is that a risk that you're willing to take? And then that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the call. As always, I appreciate everyone popping out to these calls. I love everyone, you know, kind of chiming in and getting some feedback and just kind of going over these keep it graphs, because you know, everything happens on Amazon on the buy. Everything's preventable. Losing money in Amazon is preventable. Making more money in Amazon is optional. All of us have that choice. It just comes down to reading the data better. And all we can do is just get more and more reps under our belt. And organically, we're going to look at these keep it graphs and just say, yep, I can pick that off, recognize that. And some things might be a little bit foreign still, but other things are probably getting picked up as we're going over this every single week. So I appreciate everyone's time on these calls. If you guys have any questions, as always, shoot me a DM, let me know, or my team. If you guys want to see anything new in the software as well, please let me know. And thank you guys for all showing up. So I'll see you guys next. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you haven't yet signed up for third-party profits, click the link down below to start your 10-day free trial. My team will also onboard you into the system. Hope to see you guys inside and increase your margins and your profits for your Amazon wholesale business. See you in the next video. we can look at this data and there is no huge spike in offer count like at all in this listing. There's been ebbs and flows where it goes up, but the price is fairly consistent. I don't know what our cost of goods are here on this Prince of Peace. Let's see where it is, because we were just kind of picking off some products here. I also heard a hand go up. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Barbara.